Hello everyone, and welcome to the 9th rip-off episode of Analyzing Evil, featuring Alex Damon from Star Wars Explained. An example of what happens when you sell any dignity, honesty, and integrity for connections to the white slavers. Today, we will analyze Alex Damon and rip his practices apart. Alex Damon started his channel Star Wars Explained in November of 2014, originally as Star Wars Minute, and uploaded his first video in January of 2015, in the lead up to The Force Awakens. And I can say right off the bat that he is the most uninspired Star Wars channel I've ever seen. Any and all passion was traded for quick and cheap minute-long videos that teach you surface-level Star Wars lore from X medium. The main thing that sets Alex apart from most Disney shills is that he's actually read an incredible amount of pre-existing source material from the expanded universe, unlike most who refuse to read it, and pass it off as 90% garbage or whatever other stance exists online. But he sure as shit does nothing to break that perception. At first glance, it seems like my stance that those who do their homework are less likely to enjoy the Disney Star Wars content is wrong. But here's the thing. Alex Damon is, without exaggeration, paid by Disney to promote their stuff. As an influencer, he sided with the white slavers right off the bat, and as someone who watched a lot of his novel reviews, I struggled to find a negative review of any of the Disney canon novels. He even thought Jedi Battle Scars was good, a novel that was ridiculed by me and absolutely everyone else on the planet. Granted, I have not watched all of them, but even if you watch his videos on the more mainstream stuff like The Mandalorian, any problems he admits he always brushes off.
Having Kane meet up with a probe droid was a cool touch. Not exactly inconspicuous, but whatever, I thought it was cool.
He's never critical of anything, and it gets to the point where you can tell it's not a love of Star Wars. It's just him always finding something nice to say about X content. It makes him one of the most boring channels in the Star Wars YouTube space. His reviews are extremely casual and lack any passion whatsoever. The problem I find with him is that making daily videos harms his capability to make quality videos. He is the definition of quantity over quality at its extreme. It's worth noting on top of that he utterly fails to explain Star Wars in the slightest. Despite reading an incredible amount of source material from both the EU and Disney, he is incredibly ignorant to the themes and symbolism of Star Wars. As I've pointed out countless times, training is an absolute requirement to use the Force. I watched a bunch of his videos about Rey, and he doesn't ever discuss the issue of Rey in detail, how she just believed in the Force and whatnot. He always just mentions things in passing. Like that detail from The Last Jedi novelization that Rey downloaded all of Kylo Ren's training, but you bet he doesn't explain how that's possible and how that works. He doesn't explain anything, and I think it's safe to say that he doesn't care much for the universe and consistency. It all fits together to give out a lazy, uncaring Star Wars channel. He's proven to be a sellout given he commonly gets interviews with people associated with Star Wars, in particular the authors of all the Disney canon novels. He also commonly gets sponsors from Disney and early access to their shit, so Alex is completely unreliable in his reviews. Since we know someone overly critical of Disney Star Wars would never be given the benefits Alex has, it's safe to say that he has zero integrity and honesty. Everything he says in his videos are insincere, down to the phony smile he gives in all of his videos. Why he has a following at all, given he has no passion, no honesty, and a quantity over quality mentality is one of life's greatest mysteries. I imagine it's due to him trying his hardest to not be controversial, but that's a completely futile goal. In conforming to everything Disney does, you're going to be seen as a complete sellout, because you are. And on top of the fact that your YouTube name is extremely misleading, you come out as one of, if not the worst Star Wars channel on YouTube. Because Alex always tries his hardest to remain uncontroversial, and he'll never discuss any legitimate problems that pop up. As I pointed out in previous episodes, pretty much all of the representation in Disney Star Wars is completely insincere and is only done to get people on their side, who can't think critically. And Alex is the definition of this demographic. Despite the fact that Disney literally filmed near a Chinese concentration camp, Alex hypocritically stands by the company. Even though he was perfectly willing to call out Quantic Dreams and seize coverage on Star Wars Eclipse for a similar controversy. I also recall him going out of his way to defend the retcon mess that was Obi-Wan Kenobi by making a surface level quick and cheap video. Ignoring all the interviews where the writers themselves admitted they didn't care about continuity, and made one of the most clueless defense videos ever that was very much going over technicalities. I mean, he doesn't really tackle other people's opinions in general. As I said, even if he himself expresses a problem with something in an episode of whatever Disney Plus show, he brushes it off and moves on to the next thing. Even by his own standards, if he decided to be critical, the Disney Plus shows he watches would be lesser in quality, and he knows being too critical or honest would result in him not getting easy interviews with Disney Star Wars creators. It's pathetic that just like The Force Awakens, he goes for safe and easy videos, and in the end, gets nothing accomplished. He never goes into the meat of the issue when he defends Disney Star Wars, and commonly pretends said issues don't exist. And again, as someone who said he grew up with the Expanded Universe novels, he should absolutely know better. I've always wondered why there are people like this. Not only does he shill for Disney, no matter how horrible they get, and just ignore everything they do and only focuses on any positives he can find, but why does he do this? I've heard the potential reason why is because of his sister/wife Mollie. Mollie, from what I hear, is a complete and utter negative influence on him, and he's such a slave to her. But regardless if that's the case, an inability to think for yourself is not an excuse. So as much as Alex influences other people to not think whatsoever, Alex himself is a sheep to higher powers, such as Disney and his sister/wife. Maybe I'll do a video about Mollie as well. It's frankly pathetic that Alex is such a chump that he ended up marrying his own sister, because dating options were sorely limited for him. It actually unironically made me feel a lot better about being a loser, because at least I wasn't desperate enough to marry a direct relative. I also noticed that he doesn't even feign high standards. Watching his full season review of The Acolyte, he said it was a 7 out of 10 for him, which compared to what Star Wars used to be, that's pathetic. Star Wars is meant to be the gold standard for any fan. It's how we invest in it so much, because it was extremely remarkable, but a decent score isn't an achievement whatsoever. Star Wars cannot be sustained by being passably decent, assuming The Acolyte was even decent in the first place. I think this ties into Alex's mentality. In one of his earlier videos, trying to make the case that Lucasfilm cares about the fans, he expressed the mentality that Star Wars will only have something great once in a while, like in Empire Strikes Back, and that it's unrealistic to expect every project to be a masterpiece. The thing is though, Alex has such pathetically low standards. It's not even that every bit of content that comes out is a 7 out of 10. It's much, much lower, and he always finds a reason to praise it, even if it's horrible. It really makes you think if he was actually struggling to find something nice to say about some of the worst content Disney has churned out. It may actually be why his praises and criticisms are never fully in-depth and conform to the name of his channel to explain anything. He doesn't ever take a hardline stance, and again, it makes his content very uninteresting and boring, because there is zero passion to be found in his videos. Quantity over quality is the name of the game, and it's basically how I can sum up Alex Damon in a nutshell. Since Alex posts low quality, low effort videos pretty much every day, he's relying on the fact that one of his videos every so often will do well, and that it will sustain him. Taking an uncontroversial approach to Disney Star Wars will also provide him with a lot of benefits, such as interviews with actors and authors. His expression never changes. He has a fake smile in all of his videos and speaks directly to the camera in an artificial way. It's not surprising that one of the biggest Disney shills lacks any care for his own content. Star Wars Explained is only a step below Disney Star Wars. He doesn't have as many resources or that big of a following, but he still found a way into the cesspit of garbage. Garbage that can very much be classified as evil. Thank you for listening to this episode of Analyzing Evil. What do you think of Alex Damon? Leave your thoughts below. I'm JJ Plagiarisms, and until next time, what are stories for mystery boxes?
Under the mountain, a golden fountain.